And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world.
I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Sundown Week, where the week just suns down.
Yeah, but I think it's been really good, like the discussions that we've had and the topics that we've gotten into, and I think it's been a really introspective week for us and for people that are in the comment section, except for the big homie that said he's turning off the notifications because we've been gone for 2 months and we keep putting out crap videos. So shout out to him. I should have pulled off his name so we could we could have announced the big homie. But
shout out to the big homie. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori. There are multiple ways to get your song reviewed. Now, the big homie De Herrera,
right.
This entire week is brought to you by the big homie De Herrera.
Yep. He actually did the artwork at the beginning of the video.
He did all of it. It's been the most interactive week we've ever done as far as with a villager.
And at the end of the week, we're going to read his, I guess you could call it a manifesto.
It's a manifesto in short.
Yeah. So we'll be reading that. That'll be put out as a separate little video.
Yeah, if you, dear listener, would like your song reviewed, it's very simple. $1.25 at the gate gets you straight to the head of the line. Or you can jump onto Patreon. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You join an alliance, all that good stuff. If you want to know how to make a week, Jay messaged me. He's like, hey, I'm going to do a week with you guys. I'm going to record all the videos with you. I was like, yeah. If you're interested in doing that, send us an email. We'll have to work something out. Okay, so this is Cradle from... You know what's interesting? I don't think I've ever heard this song before. In LD50, I ranked as one of the best new metal records of all time.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay.
Like,
you never heard this one?
The first... Follow the Leader, I think, was the greatest. Then the first Korn record... Issues... And then this one. So it's in the top 4. It made the top 4. I don't know, the first Slipknot record. It's in the top 5. It's in the top 5. Korn dominated 1, 2, and 3. I'm sorry. They just did. Alright, but I've never heard this one before.
That's your opinion, sir.
This is one of the ones that I used to skip,
I guess. Put those headphones on and we'll be able to hear it.
Alright, let's do it.
Ready?
Okay, that is familiar. That bass line is familiar to me.
I like this.
Very Tool-y.
You were never there for me, never there to carry me. 26 years looking back, that time is gone. It was you I believed in. Look what you've done to me. Realize what you've done to me. Hey, oh, God, please. Oh, God, please. I would have been for the life that walked away from me. I can't see going on. In this darkness of life, in my cradle, the powers broke the inside. My lost in life's punishment. Takes time, trying to make the multiple suffering. What do I do now? It's all about asking me, please. Set me I'll walk through as long as I need. I'll drift through my life though I'm alone. Outgrown the cradle that once housed me, and I found it's all I needed. I can see what I see going on. I'm so tired. I'm trying to make it once about suffering. It's all a mask of every place. Set me aside. I got my dirty time and lots of fun and rain. Won't get by. I can take a wake up for me. I can take a wake up. I can take a wake up for me. I can take a wake up.
What? That was the outro.
That was the outro.
Yeah.
You said it. You said it. That was the quintessential new metal song, and I don't care. We've got two songs down. So we've got a little band.
With this band.
We've got a little band. We've got a little band thingy on the side. In the first song I wrote, I tried to write a new metal song. I failed miserably. And then the second song up is Peter's song. That's not a new metal song, but she likes the song better than the song that I wrote. Surprise, surprise.
I never said that. Don't put words in my mouth.
You're like, oh my god.
No, what happened is he showed me his song when it was just the guitar and not even a distortion pedal or anything. Okay? It's hard to hear what it sounds like in that situation. Then it got some added spaz to it, plus
Spaz.
Yeah.
Added spaz, ladies and
meaning
gentlemen.
drums and stuff. And I was like, what? I loved it. So don't put words in my mouth.
No, you actually loved Jay's part. You and Zoe went crazy when you heard Jay's part.
Shout out to Jay.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you looking for?
So I'm actually going to try to write a new metal song.
Good.
Because, it's simple stuff. Very driven by... Very, very... It's really good song.
This song... This song is so good. And, wow. First of all, I loved the way that it would go. It made me feel like I was going crazy. Like in a good way. Because it would get so heavy, and then he'd like pull back and be like... You were like getting punched in the face, and then you were getting tickled with feathers. It was like...
That was the thing about new metal. Like, you really did not know... Well, with the good bands. A lot of the bands were extremely predictable, and it just got to be too much. And you could see why, because it's so simple to play. Like at that time we were looking at that thing, and the guy, was it the guy who was beating the guitar on the...
No, he slid it on the side of the speaker.
And I observed, I was like, this made absolutely no difference in the song.
He was like, sorry, watch
whatsoever.
this. I was laughing so hard. I love energy like that.
It made absolutely nothing.
This
whatsoever.
song is obviously about his relationship to one of his parents. I believe it's his father. Because it says later on, like, nobody, like, watch my father leave me.
Well, it's interesting because the next song is Nothing to Gain, which has the line, a little boy's best friend's always his mother. Please tell us what she said. I'm pretty sure we did Nothing to Gain. I'm pretty sure we did Nothing to Gain. Nothing to Gain is like one of my favorite songs on this record. Which is probably why I never really listened to Cradle, because I would just jump straight to Nothing to Gain, because it was such a good song. Obviously me, my mom, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
See...
This is when my mom was alive, so me and her are at war. So it's one of those songs I would listen to. It was kind of weird. It was kind of like me saying I still love my mom, but in code, because she could never... That's just nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd play it or whatever, and I was still like,
Oh, that's so sad.
you know, whatever. But we were at war. We were at war a lot. A lot of people are at war with me. So, what I'm saying is, this could be his father. It's really interesting because I was like, oh, okay, this is his father. But then halfway through the song, I was like, oh, this is God. He's talking about God. You know, when he talk about the one footprint in the sand. I don't know if you guys have ever seen.
Who hasn't?
That's a lot. Well, I only saw that.
I feel like it's like that in the serendipity prayer everybody knows about.
What's the serendipity prayer? You joking?
Did I say it wrong? Serenity? What is it? What was the word?
Let's just keep going. Let's keep pushing forward.
No, say what it is. What's the word?
It's the serenity. It's a serenity prayer.
Serendipity.
Serendipity prayer.
So what's that?
It's prayer that everyone knows.
Yeah, everybody. Okay, anyway, go ahead. So what were you saying?
Everybody knows.
The footprints in the sand.
Yeah, I didn't see that till I came to America.
Oh, well, my
mom had it. I remember, oh my gosh, this is like one of my earliest memories. Actually, we were in Saco. Because Saco is the first place we actually ended up in.
Yeah.
Off the plane. And it was cupcakes and lemonade. We had this thing, it was on tape, and it was, what's that? Not the Three Little Pigs. What is it? Red Riding Hood, Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
And so it was this tape deck thingy, and it told the story of Little Red Riding Hood, but it was also a sing-along thing.
Okay.
So one of the songs was Cupcakes and Lemonade, like me and my mom and me, blah, blah, blah.
Aww.
So she was delivering the cupcakes and lemonade to her grandmother. Obviously, it was a wolf. Mm-hmm. Of course, I had never heard the story before, so I was horrified. I was like, oh shit, that's a wolf, bro, that's a wolf. Because you played it, but then you saw the picture on the book.
Yeah.
This was cutting edge.
How old were you?
I was, what, 3, 4?
Oh.
This was cutting edge technology. This is cutting edge. So you heard it on the tape.
I know, and it would make a noise when you went to flip the page.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, so it's a wolf, bro, it's a wolf, yo, you got it. And the wolf came on with the granny thing. Rah, like, oh, bro, rest in peace. But, like, on the wall...
Were you sad?
I was horrified, yeah. I mean, I was 3. I'd never heard the story before.
Yeah, it was so normal to us that I never even realized the horror.
And, like, I'm telling the girl, I'm, like, telling the show, like, yo, that's a wolf, bro. That's not the right one. Like, that's a bad play. It's a wolf.
What big teeth
and I tell my mom, like, yo, she can't see us a wolf. Come on, there's a tail sticking out of the back of the sheet. What's going on, bro?
That's so weird.
But on the wall, there was the footsteps thing. Because I was, like, traumatized. It's horrible. I was, like, upset.
Jeez, honey, that's so sad.
And I think I bit Junior. Junior's my older brother.
Because you were upset.
Because he didn't care. He just liked the song. Because Junior's, like, was the real artsy one. He would sing, oh, cupcakes and... So he wanted to sing Cupcakes and Lemonade. I'm like, yo, I don't want to hear that song, bro. I got sad. Because here is this nice little girl. She's going up, and then boom, this wolf goes in.
Well, you know what's funny? Whenever I read the story... I just liked reading, oh, what big teeth you have, and oh, all the better to see you with the eyes that, you know what I mean? I just liked reading the story teeth, with like...
And then we turned the page and this, rah, I was like, no! You know, it was hurt, it was bad, it was a bad time, I cried.
Okay, this is what's really messed up, babe, is I didn't feel bad for Grandma, but I was worried about the 3 little pigs.
Of course you were. That's how everybody is. Because they made the pigs so cute, you know, with the little curly tail and shit. And the grandma was like, oh, it's just Grandma, bro. Like, he just consumed you. Yeah,
that's really horrifying.
That's how we are in America, human life. So, yeah, I was on the side of the wall there, boom, in Saco, and then boom, it was right there. And I was like, so I went over there to read. I was a pretty good reader at 3 or 4, like, you know, Jamaica. I mean, Jamaica is pretty maniacal about education. So I was reading that little thing or whatever, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And then Mom was explaining it to me. I was like, oh, okay, that's Jesus. All right, cool. I basically said something like, well, you should have helped Shorty. You know what I'm saying? But,
no.
Oh, yeah.
Really? That's so funny.
Yeah, I didn't have one of those. You know how I am with God. Like,
yeah.
But yeah.
See, the first time I read that, it was on a little plaque, and I remember sitting on the windowsill. Maybe this is why I always want a windowsill that you can sit on. My parents' front windowsill, you could sit on it. So I was sitting on there, and I remember reading it and being like, wow, that's so sad. The person's traveling by themselves. And like, it showed like just like one set of footprints, and then like when I got to the end and I realized, I remember crying. I could cry right now. I'm holding it. Like when it said that, then I realized that he was carrying me, so it wasn't the person's footsteps, it was actually God's, because he was carrying the person. I was like, oh. And I was pretty young, but I was like, it made so much sense to me, because the person was confused because they were like, oh, I'm walking by myself. But then they realized after time. And so like that's how it is with God. Like sometimes you're like, he's just left me here, abandoned me. Yeah. But then
and you're assuming that everybody knows that thingamajiggy, but basically it's this girl, this woman or whatever, and she's walking in the sand, and then she looks to the side, and then she sees two sets of footprints, and it's invisible Jesus is walking with her. And so she's like, oh, like I've seen, wow,
I remember it differently.
It's a whatever. So then she basically said, when I was going through my hardest times in life and I was walking on the beach, I only saw one set of footprints. Why did you leave me when I was walking? Why did you leave me in my hardest times? And then Jesus says, my child.
Precious child, I love you and I would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you.
Right. So he was carrying you, so that's why you saw one set of footprints.
Yeah.
So that consoled me. In the whole thing. But, I've always associated that picture with Little Red Riding Hood because of that whole situation.
Interesting.
Where was he with her? So it says, I lost you, you were my God. So I was like, okay, he's talking about God. Well, no, actually, he's talking about his dad.
And then you thought it was about God. What did you end on?
When he said fake being, I was like, oh, wait a second, fake being. That's not something you say about,
What?
He said fake being. You don't remember him saying that right there? After he says, I'll rot in my head alone, go away.
Yeah.
See, in my head, because, a lot of people believe that God's just in your head. So he's like, I'll rot in my head alone.
Oh.
Because, what I'm saying? A lot of people...
So you really think he wrote this about God?
Well, and then it says, fake being inside of my heart, you are the liar.
Yeah.
And then he says, here I stand out alone with no one to comfort me. One set of footprints in the sand. Yeah. So, those are obviously divine references. So.
Yes. Yes, except, so for me, this one was obviously about him and his dad, which kind of overlaps with me and my dad. And my dad was always there in my life, but we never really connected, and even to this moment, we haven't really connected. And so when kids' relationships with their fathers, I think with both of their parents, but there's something special obviously about a father, and a child needs to be connected with their dad. And so to me it was that relationship that he had with his dad. And when it said where's the one set of footprints part?
Right here.
See, to me he was saying no one to comfort me, one set of footprints in the sand. The dad was the one that created the situation in which he was feeling abandoned. So it was during the trials that the person saw only one set of footprints because God was carrying them in that time. But I felt like he was saying that his dad was the one that created the situation. The trials are that one set of footprints, bring about that one set of footprints.
Yeah.
The father was the one that brought about the trial, that brought about the one set of footprints. And then when he said...
So the father brought about the trial that made it so that Jesus would carry...
Right, when he's saying one set of footprints in the sand is...
So his relationship with God is good. He's just mad at his dad? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that about him. I don't really know him personally. I'm just saying what I got from the song. I thought it was just completely about his father and not really anything about God. And then... I can't bleed, I want to break. Okay, just the whole song I just thought was really, I can't, then he says beneath my cradle the bow has broke. It's just sad, and I think that, I don't know. And then when he got to the point where he was saying, look at me now, a piece of shit like you. You left me, so fuck you. That to me was you know how there's times you're you're just like your dad?
Yep.
I would never in my life call my father a piece of shit. I do think that there are some really shitty things that he's done. in ways that he has not been supportive. And I think that, people are the product of their own environments and their own childhoods. And like, I look at the kids and I'm like, that we've got 6 kids. Somebody's gonna walk out of this with some form of, something that they'll say, oh, you didn't this or whatever, like everybody has gripes that they say about their parents. So I'm like, I wonder what gripe the kids will say or what thing. Or maybe, but you look like you think, no, they're not gonna have anything to say.
No, I mean, I
think that's delusional to think that 6 kids wouldn't have something negative to say.
Well, I don't think the number has anything to do with it. I mean, people had
probability.
People had massive families back in the day. I mean, I just think that.
No, I'm saying the probability of
kids never expect perfection from their parents. Like it's not like
they don't now or they don't then.
I mean, it's not like.
I think now they expect perfection, but when they get older,
your issues with your father are not because he made a mistake here and there.
Oh, no.
It's because of deep-rooted,
Yeah.
From our perspective, and Allah knows best, toxic ideologies, whatever. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like example would be, he worked a lot because he was trying to provide whatever, right? And I'm sure you looking back, you'd be like, I wish things, I wish you would have spent more time with us, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, now you're an adult, you understand. You can reconcile that to yourself because I'm working a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that you agree with it, but you understand why he was doing it, and you can kind of give him a pass for that and actually look at it and say, well, okay. But there are other things where
maybe I probably haven't gotten to that point yet because I still, and maybe it's because I feel like I think that me and my dad's relationship just wasn't good. And no amount of time would have really changed that because It was mindsets that he had, personality that I have, and the two of those just didn't mesh.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to psychoanalyze your dad on that. What I'm saying is, if there were certain aspects of you and your dad's, if he would have done the white knight thing in the situation where he should have, I'm certain. And you guys, it's like, this is a weird analogy, but Rico Reckless, the guy that sampled on your favorite rap song currently. I don't know what happened to them boys. So these dudes went up and shot up their house. And he said after that situation happened, him and his half sister became completely close because he went and he went and made it so that those folks didn't come to his house anymore, but then he was really maniacal about protecting her. So he said their relationship, because before that she was a half sister, and so she was always getting preferential treatment. There was always that resentment. After that situation happened, he kind of became so then all the other resentments, the half sister stuff, and you growing up, she got this.
He was able to overlook all that.
It wasn't even he overlooked it. It's because now they have this thing. So if he would have showed up and showed out in that situation, I feel like you would have looked at the other thing and said, definitely I would have loved if my dad was there now, but now we got this thing going on, boom, boom.
Oh, and I completely agree, yeah.
Right, so there's some things so that's my thing, as a parent, I'm sure they're going to say, I wish he didn't work so much. And they're not going to understand until they have their own families, holy shit, dad was around us a lot. You know what I'm saying? And but I think that there's, with each of them, I have a different type of relationship to where I don't think there's going to be that that deep-seated and that's one of the reasons we. You see what I'm saying?
No, I agree with that. I'm just saying, I feel probably it's on my part.
No, I don't think.
When I get frustrated or whatever, I'll feel like they'll be
Yeah, but again, there's some parent wounds, father, mother wounds that get healed once you have kids yourself.
Yeah.
And then there are other ones that get exacerbated once you have kids yourself. Because you say, there's one type of category with your parents where you go, oh, that's why that happened.
Yeah.
And then there's another category of I couldn't be away from my kids for a week in the sense of somebody took my kids and I don't know where they are.
Who is in that situation? What do you mean?
Don't worry about it. I, as a I as a parent, like if my ex took my kids and I didn't know where they were, like I would turn the entire planet upside down until I found my kids.
Yeah.
Like period.
Yeah.
So there's certain situations with parents where you go, oh, okay, I understand why that happened. And there are other situations that make it worse. You're like,
I see.
Now that you have a kid, you're like, yo, like how could you?
This makes even less sense. Yeah.
Right. So. And I think it's that type of father wound that he's talking about here. I think I don't really think that there's, especially with boys. I wrote a song, and it's actually one of my favorite lines of all time. Something, am I getting through? My God was a father that I never knew. Mm-hmm. So the line between God and your father is extremely difficult to extricate. So I don't think he's talking about one or the other. I think it's a both and situation. Mm-hmm. And then breathe, push. It sounds like childbirth, and I think it is.
Especially when he does it.
Yeah, and then of course, so he's talking about his father, and then in the next song, Nothing to Gain, a little boy's best friend's always his mother, which was also a dysfunctional relationship. So I think that's kind of what it's about, and it's something that I take really, really, really to heart, is the degree to which a father can wound a child or children, and a stepfather or whatever. Like that's very, very important to me, because it's weird because I don't really feel, I have got a lot of mother wounds, but I'm like fiercely. It was funny because I was talking to my dad. Because me and my dad are actually, having a relationship now, which is pretty cool. Shout out to the big homie. Don't watch this stuff, Dad. But, like, there's just certain things where my dad, my dad was talking and stuff happened between my dad and my mom, and there was a particular situation that happened that gave me a horrible perception of my dad, and my mom milked the hell out of it. Shout out to my mom. Alhamdulillah. Astaghfirullah. God forgive you. But, and I said, and it was explained to me when I was, 18 years old or whatever. And then he said, yeah, he goes, I just knew how much you idolized your mother, and so I couldn't, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do that to you. So he allowed me to have this negative perception of him. He was the absent parent. He allowed me to have this negative perception of him because he didn't want to destroy a relationship I had with my mother, because I idolized my mother. And I just thought that was just like, and obviously there are situations in my life where I did the same thing, in a different way, and it's just like, so you when you get older, you go through those stages, and you see it with Jay-Z, you see it with like, he's angry at his dad. His dad wasn't there, and then his dad, he reconciled with his dad. And then his dad died, basically. Mm-hmm. It's just it's those stages of growth that you go through. So, shout out to all the dads out there. This is a deep song, but this is like the quintessential new metal song. I'm gonna have to give this one a 10 because it like really brought me back to 2000, 2001. What do you give it?
It was a 10, and I think it's a good song because I think that, I don't know, maybe it's a survival song at some points of your life or relationship with your parents.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
10 all around.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.